And it is the Chief Baseball Officer of the Boston Red Sox, Craig Breslow, who joins us this morning. Hey, Craig.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We're doing well. 18-13 this team is right now, with a chance to sweep today. So I take you back to opening day. Are they right where you thought they'd be? Are they better? What are your feelings right this moment? I know it's early in the season.
Sure. No, I mean, I think, I hadn't thought a ton about what our record might be. I think it's obviously a good thing that when we're pitching really well, we've been able to withstand some injuries. We've gotten some guys hot at the plate. We've been able to bank some wins. Nothing would be kind of less fortunate than pitching really, really well, being competitive, staying in games, but ultimately not being able to get them over the line and bank wins. I think we did not anticipate the number of injuries that we've seen, but there's a next man up mentality in the clubhouse that's been really impressive to watch.
Craig, you talk about pitching. When you look at your team statistically, what's the I know you guys are number one in the league when it comes to ERA. Is that the most important piece when you look at all the stats and all the analytics? Is it about the ERA? Is it about innings pitch? From the approach that you're taking, what's the most important thing?
Yeah, it's not ERA. Ultimately, it's wins and losses, but we're looking for what metrics are kind of most predictive of future performance, and so there are a handful that we'll target. And essentially, I think there are three things that we're trying to do here. We're trying to limit our walks, we're trying to maximize our strikeouts, and we're trying to manage hard contact. And so there are a number of different ways to look at those things, but those are kind of the three that stand out. And, I think Andrew and the rest of the pitching group and our pitchers for sure deserve a lot of credit for the performance to date.
Craig, sticking with starting pitching, Cutter Crawford said he feels really good going deeper into games. What do you attribute to his ability to be able to do that?
Yeah, so I think he worked really hard this offseason. He got bigger and stronger. I think he's been more efficient through the early innings. He's attacking the strike zone and not getting as deep in accounts. So if you look at just his overall strike percentage, it's been really, really high. And when you throw the ball over the plate with good stuff, there's a good chance that good things happen.
You brought up injuries, and there's been a lot of them so far for this team. Any concern on your part when it comes to the roster being deep enough if that continues to be an issue?
There's always concern in that I don't think you could ever have too much depth, especially on the pitching side. So, we're trying to be aggressive and trying to be active to make sure that when there are opportunities to upgrade the roster, we're doing so. I think we've seen a little bit of that over the last couple of days, some, kind of small tweaks that we've been able to make that, we think give us a little bit more depth and a little bit more roster utility in the short term. Also, I think allow us to remain flexible.
Craig, you talked about guys going deeper into the game. What's been it seems like there's been just a change in baseball where now, like a quality start is a guy going about 5 innings versus, you think about the Pedro days where guys were going deep into games. What's been the overall difference? Is it a change of philosophy? Is it the way guys are training that they're not able to go as deep as they used to?
Well, I think it's a combination of variables, but I think the biggest one is just understanding the way that, matchup projections change the more times the batter sees a particular pitcher. And I know a lot has been made about kind of the times through the order penalty, but if you were to ask a hitter if, they feel more comfortable in the box after seeing a particular pitcher 2 or 3 times through, I think they're all going to tell you yes. And that's something that needs to be factored in when we look at what available options exist, whether that's continuing to run with the starter or to bring in a reliever.
Craig, are you do you have the green light to add payroll to cover up some of these injuries prior to the deadline?
I think what we're seeing is inability to add, to make moves, to be aggressive, and to transact. And, I think that's something that's important given where we are right now, and the need to kind of stabilize the roster, to ensure that we're not asking so much of our guys right now that we're going to be paying the price in July or August.
Has the team start? Go ahead.
Well, just was that yes? You've been given the green light. I didn't understand that answer.
I mean, what I would say is, I think our needs are dictating what we're doing, and by, kind of as evidenced by the fact that we have made moves over the last 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 days, I think implicit in that statement is we have the ability to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're 18-13, 5 games over 500, the season high right now, and you would hope to get healthier as the season went on. I just feel like the last 3 years you weren't here. Every year at the deadline, Heim would say, we need to get to a point where we're worthy of an investment. Would you say this team already is worthy of an investment? Further investment?
I think, I think it's early in the season. I think what we have shown is that this is absolutely a team that is competitive, can be competitive, and deserves the transactions that we've made over the last couple of days to try and stabilize things. Obviously, as we work into the season, we're going to have a better picture. But right now, I think in the short term where we are is this is a team that deserves reinforcements, as we've been able to demonstrate over the last couple of days.
When it comes to overcoming those injuries, how much credit for that do you give to Alex Cora?
A ton of credit. I think it would be really easy to look at the injuries and specifically who has suffered from those injuries and kind of think that it would be really difficult to overcome those, and that the odds are just stacked against us. And instead, I think the complete opposite has been true. There have been unheralded guys who have stepped up and contributed to wins, whether that's Cooper Criswell or last night Dom Smith, who had been in the Red Sox uniform for all of a couple of hours, getting a big RBI knock. And I think that is a credit to Alex and his ability to create a really positive and strong culture and connect guys and to relate to them and get them to believe in what we're trying to do here.
Sam Kennedy said a couple times in this show that Alex Cora's future with the Red Sox kind of rests in your hands. Have you guys had ongoing discussions about that?
I've maintained from the time that I got here that those conversations will take place between Alex and me, and that the last thing that either of us wants is for that to become a distraction. I think we've both handled that in a way that it hasn't become a distraction, and we are focused only on what's in front of us, on the team that we're putting on the field every night and trying to get the most out of them. But Alex and I have a great relationship. We have an open relationship, and I think we're both fortunate for that.
Should you need a hand, Greg Hill was just voted one of Boston's most influential people. So
I could arrange an outing. I don't know if you've done like any kind of out of work outing. We could go to a yard sale or something like that. The three of us.
Perfect. That sounds ideal.
Craig,
maybe a concert?
A concert would be good. There's a lot of concerts at Fenway.
Noah Kahan?
Craig, top 3 bands? I don't think we've ever asked you that. What are your top 3 bands all time?
Oh, man. I'm not sure I have a great answer. I'm going to need to think about that. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to listen to a ton of music lately. Pearl Jam is definitely among my top 3. After that, I need to do some work.
All right. You have to check the analytics.
Right.
All right, Pearl Jam. Well, you'll get to see them at Fenway in September.
I bet it gets a good seat for that one.
Yes, 100%.
Craig, now, you talked about it being too early in the season, and I get as far as whether or not, this is a team you can add pieces to. But I remember when I played in the NFL, we usually have like where we would like to be come the midway point of the season. Is there a specific record or where you guys would like to be that you already know come the trade deadline, in the sense of like, all right, here's where we would be willing to add if we're at this point? Is that something that you kind of have on your future schedule?
I think that is probably the way that we have to approach this, in that, it's not so much about record as it is about, the chance to make the postseason. And I think we've seen over the last couple of years that, number one, obviously more teams are making the postseason than before. And number two, once you make the postseason, kind of anything goes. And so, you can look at playoff probability, but that won't always tell the entire picture, especially if we're talking about guys getting healthy or the way that we've played without, some of our key pieces who have recently come back or will be coming back. So it will be a complicated problem. But, the one thing that I'm very confident saying is I'm going to do what I believe is best for the Boston Red Sox, and that's in both the short term and the long term.
Last one from me. Bit of news yesterday, which you had initiated an outside consultant review of the entire operation. What led you to that, and why are you doing that?
Sure. So one thing that, I had maintained through my interview process and early on here was my need to understand, who our people are and the work that they're doing. And equally important, or maybe even more important, is the work that we're doing informing what matters, and that's helping us to win Major League Baseball games. And this is a big organization. Front offices have grown tremendously. Ours is no exception. And in my mind, the fastest way to get a handle on all of that was with the assistance of a company that has done this for a really long time. And my hope and expectation at the end of this is I'll have a much clearer picture for how we can operate both effectively and efficiently. And I think that is the fastest way for us to become the healthy organization that we aspire to be.
All right, Craig, thanks for taking the time as always, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds great. Thank you.